we know what it's like when we're really listened to. We become more ourselves. We become calmer. We become funnier. We become more creative. Love begins to flow. The story I like that illustrates this, I wrote it up in True Refuge, and I want to share it with you because it really touched me to sense. There's a woman who came to a workshop and she heard this kind of metaphor of the fountain, and how if you really listen to someone, like you really hang in there, even if they're all self-absorbed and jumbled, they'll begin to come from a deeper and deeper place. She decided to try it with her mother. Okay. Now her mother is actually this, according to her description, very, very narcissistic, kind of the center of the known universe kind of person. She was a well-known writer, and basically whenever she spoke, it was as if she had a rapt audience, even if it was just one person, and all they wanted was to hear from her. And it was very hard to be around her. In fact, this woman's older sister wouldn't even go home and visit anymore. It was so difficult to be around this woman. But the woman that I'm talking about decided to spend time with her mother. She went home on a vacation. She spent 10 days with her mother and decided that she'd really listen. So whenever she felt resistance or judgment, whenever she felt unimportant, because with narcissistic people you could feel just so irrelevant, like you're just there, or when she'd feel bored, she'd bring an inner listening, kindness, a forgiveness to whatever she was feeling. Really, it's okay. Made it okay within herself, so that there was more of a space and a clarity she could bring to with her mother. And she'd also coach herself, and I thought this was great. She'd say, now, what is happening? This undivided attention. My mother is talking. I am quiet. There's endless time. I hear it every word. And I hear what's behind the word. I hear who she is. So this is her coaching herself to listen to the song. My mother's talking, I'm quiet, there's endless time, I hear it every word, and what's behind the word. Okay, so she's using, I thought so beautifully, these, that she would pause, she would take care of and listen to her inner life. She'd open her senses, I'm right here, I'm listening, that undivided attention. And with her heart, because listening requires a heart presence. You have to feel the energy of the communication with your heart. Start to feel behind the words. And she began to hear first a kind of desperation, as if her mother was insisting over and over again, I'm here and I matter. And she would take in her mother's pain and felt her own heart soften with care. And through her own steady presence, she would communicate, you are here and you do matter. And her mother started to relax. It took some days, but she started to relax because there started to be pauses between all her stories and commentary. And she would sit back in her chair some and look through the window. So there was kind of, something was loosening with this kind of unbelievably unconditional listening presence that her daughter was offering. And then several days before she was going to leave, her mother began to tell her that she felt alone and unappreciated. And this woman responded in a very sincere and gentle and present way. And her response was, Mom, it's because you don't listen to people. Now, her mother froze, but she didn't get defensive. Why? Because there had been enough days of this unconditional listening presence that there was a trust. I mean, she had received such uncritical sympathy that she knew she was getting truth. So her mother wanted to know more. She said, please tell me, I need to know. So her daughter explained it, explained how it was for her sister, for their dad, for her stepdad. She said, when you don't listen, people feel like they don't matter, like they're not known. And it's true. You can't know them if you don't listen. You can't be close. So the mother looked at her daughter with a sorrow and an understanding that totally pierced her daughter's heart. Something changed. It was the pain of alienation that broke through her defenses, or just it was her time. But she knew something needed to be different. So she started shifting. She really brought attention to others, and other people noticed. And her sister did visit, this woman's sister visited, and she told her that for the first time in my life I felt like I was a real person to her, that I existed. The change was the most poignant with the stepfather. They started doing things together again, long dinners, evening walks. That had all ended shortly after their marriage. So, in other words, the mother was no longer demanding the world's attention. She was speaking and listening in order to belong to other people, to share their life. And it's because her daughter had listened in this unconditional way that the mother's fountain began to unclog. So her life could flow from its source. She could be living from a deeper place. So to me, this was a beautiful example of listening to the song. That she just kept listening, and first the song was muddied, came from a deeper place, and then that undefended place of yearning. So these are the blessings, really, that we're exploring tonight of when we dedicate ourselves. I mean, each one of us knows it in some way. That if we can stand still, if we can just pause and wake up our senses, just come here, listen, see, be, feel with our hearts, there's going to be more contact with others. And if we can offer that inward, we're going to be coming to really the awareness and love and source that's really the essence, that's the purity of our fountain.